docile proletarians together. We will get plus 200 relations with Georgia, and we will have an alliance with them. So, hooray for that. We're now allied with Georgia. Now, here's a funny little tidbit of info. If we click over Georgia, you will notice that their Minister of Security is one Joseph V. Zhukashvili. I don't know if you can see his picture very well on YouTube, but it may look familiar. I'm not going to ruin it for you. If you realise who that is, it may amuse you. That a certain real-world, very, very, very prominent, famous world leader has been reduced to a Minister of Security in a backwater Eastern European state. The game does throw you a few little funny bits like that in. I think there's a bit when you're playing as Germany where an event involving Hitler actually pops up, whereby Hitler's like this sort of little known like Austrian artist or something. It's quite funny. Anyway, yeah, so Russia has now turned red. We are Red Russia. Red, Bolshevik, red, you know, the whole shebang. We're as communist as it gets. Our flag's changed to Soviet, well, we're now known as Soviet Russia, and our flag has changed to this. It looks a bit weird, but after some research, I've actually figured out that that's apparently the first flag Soviet Russia actually ever had during like the original Russian Civil War and stuff. So yeah, our head of state is now Sovnarkom, which is like the ruling council of the Communist Party. Mikhail Tomsky is our head of government. And yeah, this is all going to change very shortly, actually, though, because of an event that's going to pop up. However, before we do that, you'll notice over here we've still got like the Imperial Russian X flag in the corner there and stuff. Like our background hasn't changed. That's because the game needs to actually be refreshed before we can continue any further, just so it computes all the changes it's just done. Because we've kind of essentially changed the country we're playing as completely. We have a new flag and everything, and the game actually, you need to refresh the save in order to do that. So I'm going to save the game, and I will come back in a second once I've done that. So BRB. Okay, we're back, and as you can see now, the game's refreshed itself, and we now have a nice big red and yellow hammer and sickle at the top left corner of the screen. So everything's working as it should do now, thankfully. The workers and peasants state. Now this is another big decision event that pops up. Soviet power has been established in Russia, but Bukharin is popular neither in the army nor in the Bolshevik party because of his unstable political views. There are three factions which have their own ideas on how to reorganize Russia. Frunze's autonomists, who want to take back all Russian territories and create Great Soviet Russia. Some non-Russian members of Sovnarkom who propose federalization and creation of the USSR, which is what happened in real life. And Tukhachevsky's faction consists of Trotskyists who want to launch a world revolution. So we get to pick essentially which one is it put in charge. We can go with Frunze's autonomists and basically stay exactly as we are now as Soviet Russia. We can have Sovnarkom create the USSR, which is what happened in real life, which is basically they institute a federal government, very much like the United States actually, whereby you had a federal central government based in Moscow, and the rest of the country was broken up into autonomous Soviet republics like the Ukraine and the Baltics, and Kazakhstan, and that sort of thing, and Belarusia, that kind of thing. Or we can do Tukhachevsky, whereby we are transformed neither into the USSR nor Soviet Russia, but we are transformed into, I think, the Soviet Republic. And it increases our relations a huge amount with Britain and France, and which is good, which is brilliant. And it also sets our policies, in our diplomatic policy screen sliders to the maximum authoritarian and left positions, which is good news, because that's a little cold and heartless, but actually in game terms, those are the best options we need right now, because we need full control over everything, essentially, because we need to do some serious work on rebuilding Russia. The only way to do that is to get nasty. No two ways about it, I'm afraid. So yeah, and in the spirit of Kaiserreich's sort of slightly mad ahistorical setup, I think it'd be quite fun to create this ahistorical Soviet Republic as opposed to the USSR. So we'll do that. We'll side with Tukachevsky. So he's now our head of state. Nikolai Bukharin's the head of government. We've got a whole bunch of other dudes, which I will reshuffle myself in a minute or two. Sort them out so we get the right bonuses we need. Our flag has changed again. We're now the Soviet Republic, and we have a nice red flag with a gold star in the minute because we're such brilliant little boys and girls. And our troops' flags again have changed to just a plain old red flag. Nice and simple. I like it. So yes, we have finally achieved what I set out to do at the very beginning of this Let's Play. I don't know how many videos this has been so far. I mean, God knows. I'm playing this almost in one long stretch because, I mean, this game is very, very addictive. And I'm also drinking lemon juice to wet my whistle, as it were, so I don't run out of steam halfway through with a dry mouth, which happens sometimes when I'm recording. So yeah, we've got a crap load more divisions actually, which we need to deploy so it doesn't fuck around with our infrastructure, because that can, if you have a bunch of divisions over here in the reserve pool and you don't deploy them, it screws around with the with like your transport capacity, it's called, which is your ability to move units around the map efficiently, which we don't want to screw around with. So I'll get all these guys deployed, which may be a little bit tedious. In fact, I may just edit this out. Depends on how many there are. I don't think there are too many. Right, yeah, it's just these militia guys left now. Right, dump these guys down here. Militia are slightly worthless, however, in large enough numbers they can still be quite good at holding the line, although I wouldn't use them to attack anything, because they'll just all get slaughtered. So yeah, how's the rest of the world doing in the meantime? Yeah, the communists are still getting their asses kicked. The Union State is still doing pretty well. Canada's still got Alaska. Pretty much nothing's changed in Romania either. And we now have Georgia on our side down here, who have 7 infantry divisions, which is quite a sizable amount actually, considering how small a country they are. So yeah, let's keep pushing on. Oh, actually, before we go any further as well, land and agricultural reforms. After 20 years of incompetent management, Russian agriculture is very weak. We need large amounts of agricultural supplies for our industry and our armed forces. How shall we obtain them? We can restore Prodratsivorskta. It's cruel, but there's no other way. Which increases our industrial efficiency by 3%. We lose 100 money and increases dissent by 10%. And it gives us a bunch of supplies. Or we can start the collectivization process by creating collective farms and stuff, which increases national dissent by 5%. Doesn't increase our industrial efficiency, but I'm going to go with that. I don't really want any more extra dissent than I need. We've also been given blueprints for some new technologies from Georgia, which is great news. 1930 static anti-air artillery, mounted infantry, manufacturing support systems, all for nothing. They're giving it to us for free, because they're just so nice. So yeah, first order of the day now, actually, is to get some technological research going, because we are so far behind right now. It's pretty pitiful. So I think first thing we need to research is 1931 Infantry Division. We're that far behind. Our infantry technology is still in the 20s at this point. So yeah, this is how technology works. Basically, you have each tab on the tech tree screen, which is a different category, like here, aircraft, naval technology, tanks, infantry, industry, and different land doctrines and naval doctrines, which are sort of like They're kind of like training and organization and tactics and strategy, as opposed to like actual infantry technology, which is more sort of things like guns and ammunition and actual physical things, as opposed to sort of theory, like strategy and things. So yeah, so it works. You get a whole bunch of different tech teams to choose from. Each one of them is sort of like a either influential person, like a scientist, or a company, or a corporation, or a design bureau, or something that's famous from the period, who you can assign to research different research projects on each, which you can find on these tech trees here, all these things. Each project requires different types of knowledge to complete the research for, like say here. 1931 Infantry Division requires general knowledge of general equipment, artillery, electronics, munitions, and training. What you need to do is you need to pick a tech team which has knowledge in these fields and also has a high skill. Because what you have here is you have like all the different things there. Next to each tech team you have, like say for example, the Barricada Factory Design Bureau. They have skill 5, and they have skill 5 in these different fields. So general equipment, training, electronics, mechanics, and artillery. They have 4 out of the 5 things we need, so they're actually our best option to choose from with this. So we're going to go with them. Skill 5, that's fairly respectable. So they're going to research 1931 infantry, which we desperately need. We're also going to research 1930 logistics, which will increase our transport capacity, our attrition modifiers, lots of useful things basically. I'll put Mikhail Tukhachevsky on that. We'll save Boris Shaposhnikov for something else. Land doctrines. Yeah, we'll save him for researching manpower focus, which is the first of the main land doctrines that we have selected. Because you remember we got that thing earlier which gave us a bunch of blueprints in a tech tree we wanted. So you have the different ones here, like light infantry, defensive focus, the firepower focus, manpower focus, and mobility focus. Which was mobility, if you remember, was the Blitzkrieg one, and manpower is the massed armies of conscripts one, which is what we're doing. So we're going to have him researching the manpower focus. He's got a blueprint on it, so it shouldn't take too long. What blueprints do is they half the research time to research a particular technology. Meantime, let's have some industrial research going, because we're very, very, very far behind on that too. Let's get Nizhny Tagil factories researching manufacturing support systems, which we've also got a blueprint from Georgia for, which is great. And the last tech team can work on 1928 agriculture, mechanized agriculture, because that will also, along with production 1925, that will increase our industrial efficiency, which is good because it'll give us more. Again, it'll give us more IC to play around with. So I will get the Kirov Factory Design Bureau to work on that. And that's all our tech team slots filled out. Each one requires a certain amount of money to fund each day. But that's not such a big deal. It can be a big deal for other nations, but it's not such a big deal for us because we're communists, and as a result of our sliders here on the diplomacy screen, tech teams for us cost almost nothing. For communist nations, tech teams are incredibly cheap for some reason. So yeah, let's have a look at production, right. I'll keep supplies a bit further down now on around 17. Consumer goods can stay where it is for now. We're still upgrading, so we'll leave that on sorry, what's it at right now? 36. Still needs 53, so it's still got a way to go before it upgrades everything. We don't need any reinforcements, so yeah, we'll just keep that ticking over as it was before for now. But very soon we're going to start having to build new factories and new infantry divisions, and also aircraft as well. Aircraft's not going to be a huge deal for us as Russia, but it will be nice to have a few interceptor fighters and maybe some tactical bombers as well to help us deal with the Germans, because the Germans have a lot of planes, I mean, a stupidly huge amount of planes. The Luftwaffe is massive. So